So here's a wild idea. What if we took the same ruthless logic that builds business monopolies and applied it to dating? I know, it sounds a little intense, right? But today, we're going to break down a way of thinking that totally reframes dating. It's not about playing a numbers game. It's about a strategic quest to become a category of one.
You know, if you've ever felt like you're just another face in an endless sea of profiles, this quote probably hits pretty close to home. The whole modern dating scene can feel less like finding a connection and more like being in this brutal, overcrowded marketplace. But what if there was a way to just step out of that competition completely? All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to pinpoint the problem. Then we'll get into a powerful counter strategy that actually comes from the world of tech startups. We'll even see it in action with some of history's most fascinating people, understand the psychology of why it works, and then we'll wrap up with a really important question, just for you. Okay, let's dive into the core problem here. Why does swiping left and right so often feel totally exhausting, maybe even a little dehumanizing? Well, the answer, believe it or not, comes from a really basic idea in economics. This is where it gets really interesting. See, in business, a perfectly competitive market is where everyone is selling pretty much the same thing. Just imagine a street that's lined with a dozen coffee carts that are all identical. The only way they can compete is by lowering their prices, right? Until eventually nobody's really making any money. Well, dating apps create that exact same dynamic. When every profile starts to look and sound kind of the same, you're forced to compete on these tiny, superficial things. You basically turn yourself into a commodity and your own unique value just tanks. So if competition is the trap, then the only way out is to build a monopoly. Now, this idea comes from the pretty famous Silicon Valley investor Peter Thiel. His whole thing is that the most successful companies and people don't just do a slightly better version of what already exists, they create something brand new. And this slide just breaks it down perfectly. The competitive path, what he calls 1 to N, is all about trying to be a little bit funnier or a little more attractive than the next person. But the monopoly path, 0 to 1, is about being the only version of you. It's not about being the best player in the game. It's about inventing a game that only you can play. So how in the world do you build a monopoly of you? Well, Thiel's answer is what he calls proprietary technology. In business, that's like a secret algorithm or a special formula. But in dating, it's that core part of you that's so unique and so valuable that nobody can copy it. Maybe it's your insane knowledge of old movies, or a specific kind of wit that's all your own. Or maybe it's the way you can make someone feel like they're the only person in the world. It's your secret sauce. It's what makes you irreplaceable. And listen, this isn't just some modern tech bro theory. History is absolutely full of people who just instinctively knew how to escape the competition and build a monopoly of desire all around them. Let's dive into our first case study. Okay, so meet Ninon de Lenclos. She was basically a philosopher of pleasure and an absolute master strategist. Now, in a time when women had very little power, she just said no to the usual paths of marriage or joining a convent. Instead, she built this life of total freedom by taking complete control of her own value. And check this out. This is how she did it. It's genius. She literally segmented her market. She took all the things a single partner would normally provide and just split them up. The payers gave her the money she needed to be independent. The martyrs gave her social status. And the favorites, well, they were chosen purely for her own enjoyment. By doing this, no single man ever had any real power over her. She was the one in charge, a true monopolist. Now, fast forward over 200 years, and another incredible woman built a totally different kind of monopoly. Her name was Lou Andrea Salome. She was a philosopher and a psychoanalyst who absolutely captivated some of the greatest minds of her time. We're talking Nietzsche, Rilke, Freud, not through normal romance, but through sheer intellectual force. And this quote just nails it. She completely refused to be turned into a commodity through marriage or a traditional relationship. Instead, her brilliant mind became her proprietary tech. She offered this unique kind of intellectual intimacy and inspiration that these geniuses couldn't get anywhere else. And that made her completely essential to their work and to their lives. So, we've seen the strategy, we've seen the historical proof, but why? Why is creating a personal monopoly so incredibly powerful and attractive? Well, the answer actually lies in some really basic principles of human psychology. First up is this concept from behavioral psychology called intermittent reinforcement. It's the exact same principle that makes slot machines so addictive. Think about it. If a slot machine paid out every single time, you'd get bored. If it never paid out, you just walk away. But if the reward comes randomly, unpredictably, you stay glued to that machine, always pulling the lever for that next win.
Now, this quote, wow, it lays that strategy bare in its most manipulative form. It's the classic hot and cold game. And just to be crystal clear, we are not telling you to do this. But it's a powerful example because it shows a core psychological truth. Unpredictability and scarcity can make someone's perceived value and our motivation to get their attention go through the roof.
But there's a much healthier and more profound way to think about all this. It's not about playing games. It's about understanding what really drives people to want to connect in the first place. Psychologists actually break this down into two main types of goals.
And here's the real difference maker. When you're just one of many options, when you're in competition, a partner might hang out with you because of avoidance goals. They just want to avoid feeling lonely or avoid an awkward conversation. But when you are a monopoly, a truly unique source of value, they are driven by approach goals. They actively come to you for the positive, incredible experience that only you can give them. And that brings us to our last and I think most important section. We've talked strategy, we've talked psychology, but building a true monopoly isn't about putting on a costume or adopting a persona. It's about discovering something fundamentally true about yourself. You see, Thiel's philosophy goes way beyond business. It's really about a deep belief in human potential. He argues against the idea that our lives are just a matter of luck. Instead, he believes that we have the power, the agency, to find secrets, these unconventional truths about the world that most people miss, and then to build a future based on them. And this is such a powerful call to action. It's about rejecting being passive. You can either be a commodity in that competitive market, just hoping someone picks your number, or you can decide to create something that is uniquely yours and shape your own path. The choice is yours, but you can't do both. So we end with a version of Peter Thiel's most famous question. Now, this is not just a little thought experiment. The answer to this question points directly to your secret, to your proprietary technology. It's often hiding in a skill you've built that others ignore, or a way you see the world that is completely your own. That is the foundation. That's where you can stop competing and start building your own unshakable monopoly of one. So I'll ask you again, what is it?